Welcome, Blair, AntiCleric. Thanks for coming out and to answer some of our questions today. I just wanted to mention that AntiCleric has been able to successfully kickstart his game, Technolust, and that's one thing I think that I'd like to hear a lot about today. And so I'm gonna get things started here by asking you the question, like, how did you prepare to launch your Kickstarter? What kind of stuff did you do before the first day that you think helped you out a lot?
Like for for the actual Kickstarter
Or like in marketing, like how much stuff did you do in advance? Like, did you have an email list or like forum posts or anything like that to raise your profile in advance?
not really. I put a couple demos out on Oculus uh the Oculus forums, like the developer forums. It was the room in the city, and I was getting some pretty good like hits and feedback on those. And then I put the Technolust demo up on the forums as well. And I think once I hit around like 15,000 views or something, I figured, okay, that's probably good to go. But the actual the actual like research for the Kickstarter page took a while. Like it was basically building it for about a month, I think. Um, looking at other people's Kickstarters and just kind of seeing what worked for VR games.
Cool.
But yeah, as far as like planning marketing, not really, So a lot of Reddit and a lot of uh, Twitter, and just I think the community basically carried it for me, which was great. Like I had a lot of cheerleaders kind of spreading the word for me. And I did a lot of PR stuff, like articles. Like let's see, we did Paper Rock Shotgun. Polygon did an article. Luckily, Ben Quachera there really liked the demo, so that was easy. And that's still kind of going, doing podcasts, things like this, like just kind of trying to be involved with the community, because obviously people with the DK1 are the only ones that can back the project right now.
Right. Did you have any success reaching outside the community at all?
Um, it's hard to tell. Like, I had a few kind of family and friends, people, but not like large donations. Just you know, kind of pat on the back pledges. Um, yeah, but there's not really any way to tell if people are outside the community. I had a lot of people asking if I was going to do a non-VR version, and I basically told them no, so I didn't get any of those.
The thing that kind of I noticed about the campaign was that there was this sort of constant effort to keep it on everyone's mind. And I know that some of that was probably you. A lot of it was just the people in the community, like you're saying. But looking at the kick track and everything, it really was a sustained campaign, right? It wasn't like everybody showed up in the first day and pledged. It was you were getting backers sort of consistently throughout.
Yeah, and I don't know. It's kind of like, a lot of people kind of did let's plays at the same time, and I kind of asked them not to, to at least try and stagger them a little bit, so that it wasn't just every day there's a let's play post on Reddit or something. Um, but it wasn't really that well planned. I was just kind of, if I felt it was dropping, then I'd try to try to do something exciting to get people's attention, kind of thing.
So you can kind of see on Kickstarter where your links come from? Like, what were the sources? How did people get to your Kickstarter page?
I think about a third of it actually came through from Reddit. A good portion started to come through from the Oculus dev forums, especially after someone, I forget who now, and I'm an asshole for not remembering, but somebody made a post called like Technolust best demo ever in all caps, and that got a huge response. Like a lot of people were checking that out every day. So a lot of people came from there, and the rest of it was kind of spread out among all of the kind of like interviews and just articles and on websites. But Reddit was pretty much key, I think.
Cool. Yeah, I saw that post. It definitely is a killer headline.
Yeah, it was great. Like I said, like the community kind of took off with it, and I had cheerleaders working for me all over the place, which was amazing and unexpected. I was really happy about that.
So did you have any routine during the campaign of stuff that you did every day?
Well, yeah, but not to, well, I guess it was kind of to help the campaign. You know, you get a lot of messages, like private messages on Kickstarter, asking questions before people pledge. So you have to answer all of that, and then kind of keeping on top of the comments as well, try and respond to everybody. And same thing with Twitter and Reddit. You know, like any time there was a post anywhere, I tried to, you know, say thank you to people and answer everyone's questions. Basically, it took the whole month. I wasn't expecting to be that much work. You know, I was thinking, oh yeah, you know, I can run a Kickstarter campaign and keep developing at the same time, and not really. It really is like a full-time job.
I've heard that before. Let's open it up and get some more people asking questions here. Anyone else?
I can say there was a lot of worrying too. Like a chat that I'm in with Blair was, you know, throughout the Kickstarter it was like, oh man, I don't have any backers today. What am I gonna do?
Oh yeah.
We all knew he was gonna be fine, but like I think you had a luxurious, beautiful head of hair before the Kickstarter started.
Oh
Right?
yeah, had a beautiful mane. Yeah, it was stressful. Like there were a couple days where, you know, there would be kind of after the first little burst, there was at least like 8 hours where I didn't see a pledge, and I was like, okay, that's it. Everybody who's going to back me has backed me.
I'm ruined.
And yeah, and I probably did that once every 3 days or so. Came into chat and was like, oh no, what's happening? It's not going to work. But luckily it did. I don't know how many days in it was, but we reached the final goal. I think it was like halfway through. But then, like after that, I started to have different worries. I was like, oh no, like what if I get all of these stretch goals, and you know I have to do multiplayer, and I got to get a photo scanning studio together, and like all of this stuff, and it started to get away from me. So luckily, I changed a few of the goals, and no one seemed to mind that. I think there was only one person that complained about the lack of multiplayer, but you know, it's like I'm basically a one man team with a little bit of outside help, so I had to kind of keep the stretch goals under control as well.
So what parts are you getting help with?
Well, I'm working with some guys that are just starting up a photogrammetry slash photo scanning studio. Um, so that's coming along. As you can see from this head, this was like their test basically. So my business partner is partnering with them to get that up and running. Right now they just have like a 12 camera rig, but hopefully within the next few weeks or so we should have I think 80 cameras, so we can just do like one shot capture. And so those guys are helping me out, obviously, to do the NPCs and stuff, and also some additional modeling, like I just got a great model of an Origin PC Genesis computer to put into the game. I'm actually talking to those guys, trying to do some cross promotion because their branding and their computers fit perfectly into the world. So I put those in last night. They're beautiful. And I'm getting a little bit of audio help from the guy who's doing the soundtrack. He's also a sound designer. He actually did I think it was his dissertation on the sound design of RoboCop. So that's my guy. And yeah, so he's going to help me with some just whatever audio he can, right? Like he's obviously better than I am at it. So anything he throws my way, I'll throw that in. Other than that, oh well, there's my business partner does filming. He's like a writer, director, producer. So he'll be well, right now he's doing casting for the female lead, and we have auditions on Friday. So he's going to help out with that, and then do all the photography and video for that. But that's pretty much it. The rest of it is up to me and the Unity asset store, basically.
Cool.
With regards to audio, you've looked into 3D audio, I assume, and have you made any inroads on what you're going to use there?
Yeah, this is something that was actually originally I think the second stretch goal or the first stretch goal was binaural or 3D positional audio. But after going to SVVR and trying out Morpheus and talking to Anton, the R&D guy for Sony, he let me try a demo at SVVR that had the 3D positional audio on the Morpheus. So I was talking to some guys from Oculus at SVVR also about audio, and you know, it's something that they're going to try and hit for CV1, right? Because it adds so much. So hopefully it'll be part of the Unity SDK before CV1 launches. That's what I'm hoping for.
It's you could do it on Fmod Studio now, and it's free. I'm Mike, by the way. I met you at SVVR. I had the 3D audio demo.
Oh, right. Hey, Mike.
How's it going?
I was just about to mention you, actually. Yeah, so I was talking to Peter about it at Oculus, and he seems pretty confident that they're gonna have their own thing attached to the SDK.
Cool.
I find the Fmod stuff interesting, but it's a problem of not wanting to go ahead and do a bunch of work implementing this stuff just to either have to replace it, which might involve pulling out all the old stuff, or just adding in the new stuff on top of doing the old stuff, right? So like, I think we actually had this conversation over email.
A little bit. I was, also trying to find out from Peter what they have, brewing, and they're not allowed to roadmap anything, but they are definitely working with Fmod on trying to create an easy solution for developers other than having to go through middleware.
Yeah, and that's basically the conversation we had as well. Like he's not saying that it's definitely something they're working on, and well, it is something that they want, and I think it's pretty obvious at this point that what Oculus wants, Oculus gets. So I'm just hoping that that comes through. But you never know, I might come running back to you for help.
Yeah, I was, there's a few tools out there. One that already integrates directly with Unity, and then I don't know if you were there to listen to what Peter had to say about spatial audio. He's super passionate about it, as am I. And there's a few tools out there. The one that I showed you on that demo was just happened to be one that worked rather well. And obviously, as an audio designer or sound designer, you want a little bit more sophistication than what Unity can provide right now.
Yeah, definitely. And I tried your demo, and it was awesome. You could see the steam and the droid and everything. Even the environment was actually pretty cool as well. Never mind the sound.
So besides 3D audio, do you have any other technologies you really hope to be able to integrate into Technolust?
Yeah. Well, I guess the cat's already out of the bag on the pre-OVR suit. I've got that implemented. We did a demo at an AMD event, kind of a joint demo with Iris and Prio. So that went pretty well. Like the integration wasn't that hard, and it was cool. Like it's neat to I gave the character a flashlight in their left hand at all times, which surprisingly adds a lot of kind of fun to the game. Just being able to like look around in dark corners and find things that you didn't notice before, and to be able to lie down on the floor, like lie on your back and look up at the ceiling is really neat as well. But yeah, the other motion controllers, I think it's kind of the same story as the 3D positional audio. Like with Oculus's recent acquisition of the Carbon team, it's fairly obvious that they're going to try and have some sort of motion control solution. So I'm kind of holding off on that for a while, using the Prio suit for motion capture of these 3D photo scans, which I think will be really helpful. It's like a very cheap alternative to renting a motion capture studio. That's another technology, I guess, is the 3D photo scanning. It's not just like we're using the raw data. We're actually, baking these things down to kind of a game ready level, like with a nice low polygon count, and using some really nice shaders and stuff. I'm not using them on this model right now, but it's got some really nice like skin shaders and stuff working in Technolust. Looks good.
You're invisible.
Oh, am I?
Yeah, I can't see either.
Okay, well.
I can see you correctly, so it's probably just some people.
Yeah, that's weird. Yeah, I think the server I have this model loaded up on is a little wonky. But it's it's basically just my photo head or my photo scanned head plopped on a default avatar.
So is your head an NPC in Technolust, or is it the main character?
Yeah, it's actually, I've used it in the arcade. There's a machine which I haven't decided on the name of yet. It's either going to be the cleric or the guru or something. But it's
Cool.
It's basically like an animatronic fortune teller that kind of foreshadows some of the story, and is a collectible that you can actually get for your apartment. It's super creepy though. It's like seeing my own head on this kind of twitchy animatronic animation cycle is really bizarre.
Yeah, that
You
is
buy a model you can have at your home. Do you mean you could actually 3D print it out and?
No.
Oh, okay.
In the game, you're going to have an apartment. It basically serves as your kind of trophy chest, where you can collect things in the game, Easter eggs and stuff, and they'll collect in your apartment.
Oh, cool. I was thinking maybe we'd have like a Blair bobblehead or something. That'd be pretty awesome.
Well, that's not too hard to do. I could just give you the model. You can find a 3D printer.
Hell
to load
yeah,
it into.
I'm a freaking
Do
Kickstarter
it.
backer, man. I should be getting a Blair bobblehead.
We were actually talking about that when we were running the Kickstarter. I know a guy that works at the 3D printing lab at the University of Toronto, um, where they have like tons of different 3D printers. We were going to offer a reward that was either going to be something printed out from the game or like a faceplate thing for your DK1 where you could replace the screens. But the time was kind of running out, so we just decided to save it for later. Maybe there'll be a collector's edition or something. You can buy the bobblehead.
That'd be awesome. How many people did you have 3D scanned into your game?
Oh, so far it's like none. It's my head. We've scanned some other people's heads, but like the rig isn't really ready to do full body scans right now. So in the next couple of weeks, hopefully it'll be up and running. We're casting for one character on Friday, and yeah, hopefully there's a bunch by the end of it.
Yeah, well, if you need like a, boss character or something like that, I know a guy with a 3D model of himself that's ready to go.
Yeah, nice rotation there. I don't know if that's ready to go, but
yeah, it's
Smiley
pretty
boss.
bad. Well,
Matt, we're
thank
going to
you.
be like the Glitch Patrol, I think. Our avatars are going to be the Glitch Patrol.
Yeah, I
totally
still
do
really
that.
appreciate you guys making this for me, though, Jesse and Rev. That was really awesome of you.
Hey, no problem.
Yep. It's all
And
good.
Scott.
Hopefully someday we'll get them better.
Yeah, and Scott, VR Walker guy, right?
Yeah.
You should definitely put those models in, like as is, would be pretty funny, and like I don't know, come up with something funny, like a VR mistakes museum or something.
Hall of Horrors.
Oh, yeah, there you go. Yeah.
Well, it's the original, like I feel like it's perfect for one of the first ones that we've had in like VRChat or something. I don't want to change it ever, just because how crappy it is and how awesome other people's are going to be once they start coming in and getting full renders.
Definitely has a uniqueness. It reminds me of the new Tron movie when they get cut and it's like they have pixels kind of hanging out of their face.
Yeah.
Yeah, it does. You're right. They actually don't look that bad if you just take the standard, the scan itself. It doesn't look bad. It's only when we try to create a texture out of it and then rig it is when we ended up with those artifacts. So I guess in theory, if you wanted to, Blair, you could just take the models themselves and then have them be like, I don't know, collectors, like little toys or something. I mean, just the standard models of us just standing there don't look all that bad.
I think we could fix those textures up, like at least to the point where they don't have those crazy artifacts on them. Just load them up into ZBrush or something and fix them.
That's right.
It's not a
Basically,
texture.
if you load the model into ZBrush and manually unwrap the UVs, you can generate the texture that doesn't suck.
Yeah.
These
It's
UVs
not a
are
texture, it's
pretty
vertex lighting.
originally, yeah. But we just needed the texture to auto rig it.
A vertex color, to be exact.
Yeah. So you're in Toronto, that's right?
Yep.
How's the VR scene there?
It's really good actually. We've got James McRae, the Janus VR guy. Hang out with him all the time. Go to meetups and stuff. Got Jabba Adams, who just released something on Reddit that kind of got buried the other day. It was oh god, he's gonna kill me. I can't remember the name of it. It was just a prototype for kind of a futuristic racing game, like multiplayer racing game. Man, I wish I could remember what it was called now. It's gonna kill me.
Was it the radial one?
No, it's not the one on the tubes. It was like, it's interesting. I haven't tried it yet, but he showed me he loaded it up in Unity to show me. Basically, it's kind of like you can go along the walls of tunnels in any direction, as opposed to the opposite, which is the Radial G game. But he's making it multiplayer so that you can have like a gunner on the back, or like jump from one ship to another, which is really interesting.
Is it Gravwing?
No, God, I can't remember what it's called. Somebody, oh no, I don't even know if you could find it. You dig through Reddit for like the last 3 days. It was, the screenshot of it was like, it looked like a color swatch kind of level. Anyway, so who else do we have? There's more people, but there's a lot of stuff going on with like 3D video here. Bubblecam is here. I was just speaking with those guys today, actually. They've got really cool tech. It's like live streaming 360 video with no blind spot, which is really great. It's like complete 360 in all directions. And the streaming stuff is really cool. So I'm going to try and do some work with him, actually. They have connections to the Toronto International Film Festival, which is pretty big.
How much bandwidth does something like that take? That has to be huge.
I'm not sure, actually, because I think what he's doing is it's kind of like a trade-off. Like you can pick either more resolution or more frame rate for the streaming. I haven't got to mess around with it once. I've only actually met him in person one time. But he had some pretty cool applications for it. And he mentioned something about putting one up on the International Space Station. Not sure if that was like...
Oh, that'd be sweet.
Yeah, that would be pretty awesome. So I really want to make good friends with him. Maybe I can get an Iris logo stuck to the camera or something.
What was the name of that project or company?
Bubblecam, like B-U-B-L, no E. Yeah, it's really cool. It's about the size of a baseball. Weighs about what a pool cue or a pool ball weighs. He was showing me some demos. He had it on a tablet, and when you did like the pinch and stretch, you could kind of warp the video into kind of like, he called it Little Big Planet mode. So when you squeezed it, like it wrapped the whole 360 into like a tiny little ball. It was pretty neat. It's pretty neat tech. I think it's going to be great for things like aside from doing movies and stuff without the blind spot, which is great. Be good for things like security, yeah, like the space station, all kinds of really cool applications.
Yeah, like geotagging, go anywhere from your living room.
Oh, totally, yeah. So, like, I'm sure he's been talking to the Google guys about that as well. Like, yeah, just doing interiors of places and stuff like that.
So are you collaborating with anybody from the Toronto Meetup, or are you still doing most of this solo?
Well, that job I would like to subcontract for another project that I want to start up.
Neon Jack is the name of his game, by the way.
Neon Jack, that's it. Thank you. Oh my God, how did I forget that? Yeah, so I'd like to collaborate with him. Not on Technolust. I think I'm okay with Technolust. But I've got a lot of other stuff I'd like to get going. It's well, right now it's just waiting for funding.
That's cool. So you got other projects like in queue, ready to go?
Yep, quite a few actually. One that I can talk about that I've already kind of talked about a little bit on Reddit was I have a connection to Carl Sagan's widow. If you don't know who Carl Sagan is, what's wrong with you?
Yeah.
But basically, I used to volunteer for Center for Inquiry, which is kind of like a educational science charity, and we did a campaign called the Extraordinary Claims campaign based on Carl Sagan's quote about extraordinary claims requiring extraordinary evidence, and we we talked to Andrea and Carl Sagan's widow and got permission to use his voice. So I'm in the middle of writing a proposal to her again to see if I can get the rights to some audio, or maybe even do a collaboration with the Cosmos branding to do kind of like a, I don't want to like step on Drash's toes, but kind of like a Titans of Space, but like amped up with Carl Sagan voiceover and maybe Cosmos branding, which would be really cool.
Wow, that would be huge.
Get Neil deGrasse Tyson involved somehow. I like everything.
Oh my God.
Yeah, you know, it's weird. Like I love Neil Tyson, but his new version of Cosmos just doesn't. It's not the same. It's like
Yeah.
it's good.
It's kind of cartoonish.
Yeah,
And it's hard to follow up Carl Sagan.
Yeah, no, totally. So yeah, Carl Sagan's just so poetic and great. Like there's some videos that NASA did called the Sagan series, where I think it's like just essays from Carl Sagan read aloud, but put to video, nice HD stuff. And yeah, I'd love to use some of that stuff and just do some really kind of inspiring poetic experiences.
Wow, that'd be awesome. That's still my go-to beginner VR demo is Titans of Space. I think that'd be a great, a great genre to get into.
Yeah, Titans of Space is amazing, and like that's what I mean. I don't want to step on Drash's toes because I think he mentioned recently in like an AMA that he's working on updating Titans of Space for DK2. I don't know what that involves, if it's just like DK2 support or if he's adding to the experience. I actually like to talk to him and maybe we could kind of collaborate or something.
Hell yeah, bring him in on that. That'd be awesome.
Again, that's a funding issue, right? Like I'd love to be able to use some of the money from the Technolust Kickstarter to kickstart some of these other projects, but I think that's kind of a faux pas, misappropriation of funds kind of thing.
I'll allow it. I'm a backer.
I give you full permission to use my money for that project.
Yeah, right.
That's not to say that future sales from Technolust can't help support your future projects.
True.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, I do have some pre-sales ready to go.
Nice.
But it's yeah, no, it's not enough. I'd either have to run another Kickstarter because basically what I'd be doing is paying another developer to do the work, but then not giving them the money in the end, right? Like just giving them a salary basically. So it has to be, pretty well paying gig.
Or just make it a partnership. Make it a partnership and, have Drash come on as like some sort of percentage of the end, and I guarantee he'd probably want to do it all just anyways if you get all the rights and everything. So I'm not going to speak for him, but that might be a good option to say, hey man, 50-50.
Yeah, well the problem is it's already, like Iris is already 50-50 between my partner and myself, so that would have to be kind of a second company, no, a third, because of the photo scanning company. Oh, I should plug their website, by the way. It's quantumcapture.com. Basically all that's up there is my head. Oh no, they have a few other scans. They scanned Mike Sutherland from Prio VR as well. But yeah, I don't know. It's starting up all these companies is getting crazy. Like everyone wants to help, but they also want some equity, right? Like a percentage of the company. And I can't speak for my partner, but I'm sure he doesn't want to give up a percentage of what he's got, and I definitely don't because it's already, you know, half. So
Well, it doesn't have to be equity. It could just be, you know, a contract saying that it's, you know, 50% of profit or something, net interest.
yeah,
For a
well,
specific project.
Right.
but see, like even that is, I don't know, unless because it's something I could do on my own, I think. So it's like giving away 50% just for somebody else's time. Like I'd rather just pay someone really well to do work, right? And then that way that it's still completely under like my creative control, and they're happy, they got paid, and then, you know, maybe at least get their name out there. You know, of course they'd be credited, but
Yeah, well, you need some your own studio. Have Chris go out and, you know, find some VC money.
yeah, well, that's kind of something we're working on as well. If I can find some free time, I want to write up a kind of a bigger proposal with all of these projects and all of the potential hires if we had funding, and, you know, maybe slide a copy over to Oculus and hit some VCs and see what happens. No, Palmer said that the chances of an Oculus Toronto are 0 because it's too cold or too far north or something.
What?
But
He
they
hates
would still
Canada.
sponsor you guys, right? If they wanted to give you guys money to develop something, it still works, right?
Have they
Yeah,
been
well,
doing that?
according to them, that's something they're interested in doing, right? Like they talk about that
Yeah, yeah. They
in
said
their
like
interviews a lot.
they would publish other small companies. So I'm sure if you ask and you have some, you know,
Yeah.
you have Technolust, that's a good background.
Well, but publishing is different than kind of seed funding, right?
Yeah, usually it means pay for your salary while you develop it.
Yeah. Maybe they do some sort of like royalty advance or something on something. But the problem is with things like that, you need to at least have a prototype with some interest, right? You can't just throw ideas
Yeah,
at
yeah, that's
Oculus
true.
and they're like, oh yeah, you have an idea, here's some money. Like nobody falls for that. But yeah, VCs are the way to go, and that's like I said, like
Or
my
angel
time is so
investors.
crazy right now. Yeah, just well anybody, you know. If anyone's listening, I need money.
Yeah, I think everybody here does.
Yeah.
Yeah.
At
So
our
Blair,
meetups
do you
in
have all of
Seattle,
your,
we've got quite a few investors lurking around.
Who does? Sorry.
I mean, at some of the meetups, I mean, I'm sure some of you guys have experienced already. They're out there, and they're willing. I know I've heard a few people already, you know, had some deals or whatnot. But yeah, they're out there.
Yeah, well, West Coast has some whales, man, some serious investors, but it seems like the market isn't quite right to get a lot of them on board. I think a lot of people are just kind of waiting and seeing how it goes in these early days, but they're waiting at the gates, man. There's going to be money pouring into VR. I know it.
No doubt.
And that's why I want to get these projects underway, because it would be great to have kind of an established portfolio when you know CV1 and Morpheus and everything launches, you know, be there and already established. But yeah, it's hard. It's like I've already got a lot on my plate just doing, you know, one game basically on my own.
Yeah,
So have you considered adapting Technolust for the Morpheus?
Yeah. Like I think the Sony SDK, they have a Unity as an SDK for the Morpheus. You know, I talked to Anton, their R&D guy, a lot, and it was like right before E3, so I was trying to speak with developer relations, but I probably got lost in those emails, so need to get a hold of them again. But yeah, they seem pretty responsive and pretty interested. So yeah, I don't think it should be a problem. Like pending some sort of exclusivity offer from somebody, which I also don't really see happening.
Yeah, I hope that that doesn't happen with the games for VR. That like Sony signs somebody to just that would suck if it started happening.
Yeah, I don't think it
Stay
will.
away from Chucky.
I don't think people are falling for that anymore. You know, like aside from like Microsoft is really big on doing that for Xbox, but I think Sony's kind of trying to steer away from exclusivity deals because it doesn't really help anyone, except for
Yeah.
fueling console wars. But like, who needs that?
Yeah, they did it a lot in the past, Sony. It's just like Microsoft now is probably offering more this year than Sony is, or I don't know. It's really weird.
I don't think Microsoft is offering more for VR right now, though. That's for sure.
No,
Yeah.
that's sure.
Well, at this point, it's not like anyone's really offering anything, right? It's more of it's more of like what what who will publish and like where can I have this stuff, like right now, like I haven't even signed my Steam agreement because I'm not sure where things are going to go, right? I don't want to say I'll sell it on Steam, but then Oculus or Sony say they don't, they don't want me selling it on Steam, or like they want it exclusive. So it's kind of just kind of in a holding pattern, waiting for someone to come up and say, yeah, we'll give you a lot of money or whatever.
Yeah, so if one of these guys offered you money, would you become exclusive to one platform or another?
Yeah, well, like if it was enough money, but I'd also kind of hold off on it. Like, if they said, we'll give you X amount of dollars for exclusivity, but plus you get sales, I would probably try and do some more research to see if
Yeah, how much sales you lose, and yeah.
Yeah, exactly. So it's a hard thing to figure out at this point because there's not really a market at all. So
Yeah.
but I do like money.
Well, everyone does.
Me too.
I like money.
We should be friends. I like money too.
When did you start the development of Technolust?
Geez, when was it? I guess it was about a month into development before I put the demo up. So that would have been, let's see, January, February, March. Probably March, I think. March I started it. So I think. Don't quote me on that. I don't know.
Don't worry.
Time's
Pretty smart, you mean.
gone so weird. It's like with running the Kickstarter and like just constantly doing things all over the place. Like I don't know where the time goes. It's so bizarre.
Oh yeah. Time goes into polygons sometimes.
Yep.
So Blair, I was wondering, do you have all of your voice actors, or do you need some voice actors still?
We're definitely going to need some more voice actors, but oh my god. Okay, so the voice of Iris, your artificial intelligence in the demo is what is it? Ivana voice. It's a text-to-speech software. So I love the voice. It's like a cool kind of British female voice. So I contacted them to find out how much the commercial license is because they don't offer it on their website. They want $4,000 American plus 30% for every additional voice you use. and that's only for a year.
Ouch.
Yeah, so I basically told them to stick it, and so we're casting for that voice next week as well. But a lot of the voices, because we're doing the photo scanning, they'll actually be the actors that are being scanned, right? So it's more like a casting call for a movie than it is like voice actors separate from the characters.
Groovy. Because you know that's still my ambition, is to be a voice in a game. So I work real cheap, if not for free.
Oh, Kyle, I love you. You can do anything, man, and I'll just throw it in. If you got like, you want to put something together, like an ad or something for your podcast or something, I'll throw it in on a radio or something in the game if you want.
Oh God, that'd be awesome. Cool.
You could promote like episode like 350,000.
Yeah.
That's what we'll do. We'll take your head from your photo scan and put it in a jar, and you can be like Futurama, like living in the future.
Sweet.
So that's a thing that I'm really pushing with Technolust, which is funny because it's kind of, you know, the whole cyberpunk anti corporation, anti capitalism thing, but I'm doing a lot of like cross promotion stuff, like that was what a lot of the rewards for the Kickstarter campaign were, you know, like put your company on a billboard in the game and stuff like that. But I think it's actually turned out to be really beneficial to the world, you know, having kind of real companies and kind of like a mishmash of all this media mixed into the game world really makes it feel kind of alive, you know. And it's not like it's heavy-handed and you're like, oh, this is like an ad for Origin PC. It's just like, oh, that computer's cool, or like, yeah, that billboard has some cool ads on it, you know. And I think that's actually going to be really big in VR, because it's not like in other video games where the product placement is kind of forced. Like you have to, you know, like the only place I really see it is in racing games, where you can get away with kind of having a billboard the player's forced to look at for a second. I guess sports games do it as well, but I think that's going to be pretty big in VR, because it's hard to turn down, you know, like if somebody wants to give you some money to give you content as well. I'm gonna say yes because I need the money and I need the content.
So I think it's a great idea.
Yeah, you know.
I definitely, you know, threw some money that way to get my likeness in there, and I loved seeing the Riftmax up on the billboard in the demo. You know, that's really cool and connects things, and it's really a cool reward. You know, I think people really like it. I'm glad you put it out there, because that makes everybody kind of go, oh yeah, this is great, let's do this, and now you've got all these people doing it. So when do you plan on kind of working on that, you know, asking us for information on our likeness and processing that part of the campaign?
Very soon. I wanted to not worry about that stuff before this beta, for the DK2, because it's just like I was already kind of a month behind from running the Kickstarter campaign, and then starting the photo scanning studio, and like all this other stuff has come up and kind of taken away from further development. So the beta is really a lot less than I hoped it would be, content-wise, like story-wise. Like I've done a lot of improvements to graphics and stuff like that, and added a few areas, but not as much gameplay as I'd like. So I've been holding off gathering all the Kickstarter information, just because that just adds one more huge thing that gets in the way. But once DK2s ship, and that beta is released, or I guess I should probably call it like an alpha or a pre-beta anyway. And I plan to release those pretty consistently to keep people happy, for the backers at the appropriate level anyway. But where was I going with this? Oh yeah, so the backer information. Um, it's also a matter of kind of wanting to build things out to a point where I get some more kind of exciting ideas for places to put people. Because some of them were like, some of the rewards were like, be displayed as kind of a prominent character in the universe. So, you know, building out these new areas and stuff gives me new ideas of where people can be, and I'd like to kind of give people some choice when I send out the survey as well. You know, like, do you want to be on Mars, or do you want to like be, you know, work for this corporation or that corporation, or be in the resistance or whatever. So I'm holding off on it. I'm getting a little bit of flack about it, like not much, but a few people just kind of like, hey, when are you going to get my information? Hey, or like just sending me their information kind of without even asking. But it'll be very soon. Like, hopefully before the end of the month, I'll start gathering that stuff.
Cool, thanks.
So I'm curious, one of the conversations that you and I had at one point was the whole positional tracking and the clipping into the walls and into the table. What did you decide to do in terms of that? Just let it go and let it be what it is?
What I'm doing is kind of a mixture of things. I found that trying to lean through walls doesn't happen by accident. When you're sitting at your desk, you generally can't lean much further than, like, comfortably anyway, more than about, you know, 6 inches or so. So like, if you want to stick your head through a wall, you can go right ahead. It's like, it does nothing except kind of take away from the experience. In places where it might happen by accident, I'm doing, like I said, a mixture of things. Sometimes I'll put like an inside out black object, so that, say, like the pop machine, if you stick your head into the pop machine, it's not just like hollow and you can see through it. It's got substance. And then other areas, I might actually play with it and put in, you know, like if you stick your head through a bathroom door, there might be, you know, a midget on the toilet reading the newspaper or something, you know, stuff like that. Like it's fun to do Easter eggs. Like when I first stuck my head through a wall, I was like, oh wow, it actually looks pretty cool out here. Like, you know, it's
cool.
I don't think it's something that people are gonna. It's not as big of a problem as you would think. Like, there's certain times when it's a problem. Like at the beginning of the game, I've got kind of the VR screen in your face. So if you can lean through that, that's a problem. So I ended up having to like lock it onto the player's head, which is not ideal. And I might actually try something else, like just making it really big. It's kind of like a giant movie screen sort of thing. So it does have issues. I'm really worried about what it's going to do for animation, because if you have your head locked to this avatar, and then you're playing the game, but then you straighten up, and all of a sudden your head is 6 inches above where it was when you started. What happens to the model? What happens to the animation, right? Like, is the IK just gonna like stretch the neck, or like, what are you gonna do?
Yeah, you look like
But
E.T.
Yeah, like, I don't know what's happening. I wish somebody tested that with couch nights. Like, okay, don't listen to the Oculus guy, just stand up. I want to see what happens to your head. But yeah, I'm not worried about the clipping. I'm worried about animation, like skating, and, you know, like, what if you crouched? Is it going to force the player's body through the ground so you fall into infinity? Like, I don't know what's going to happen with that.
Damn, those
I
are
guess
good
we'll have
questions.
to find out.
Holy crap, how come nobody has thought to do that yet? Or to ask that question?
It actually
So,
came up.
are you
because,
on the...
sorry, go ahead.
Go ahead. Well, I was just going to ask you if you were on the short list for the first couple DK2s.
I don't know if I can answer that. I don't think so.
Okay. I rescind my question.
It's a really weird thing because if I were under some sort of NDA, and other people have been talking about it a lot, and I don't really know where that stands. I don't know. I don't know who's allowed to talk about what.
I can't stand NDAs, but they're a necessary evil.
If you hang out on Reddit, you think, or you'll notice that apparently a lot of people don't even pay attention to what's in an NDA. Or even at SVVR, remember there were a couple people showing their demos on HD prototypes, which is like,
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
like that's strictly forbidden. The AMD event that I went to, they have an HD prototype, and they advertised the event as being able to use an HD prototype, and which got me in trouble. Oculus thought that I was bringing an HD prototype, so I got a phone call about that, but it was AMD's. So it's like people, even bigger companies like AMD aren't really paying attention to what they should and shouldn't be doing.
Oh yeah, no, it's an amazing. Well, hold on, we're streaming, right?
Yeah, can we edit some of this?
No,
No, it's
never
okay.
mind, never mind. I have nothing more to say.
I don't think I've said anything that wasn't forced out of me. Anyway.
But going back to the clipping through the wall, have you ever thought of making like an Easter egg or a hidden thing behind a wall?
Oh yeah, totally. That's what I was talking about with like the midget with the newspaper on the toilet kind of thing. It's like,
Okay.
yeah, there's all kinds of funny things you can do. I don't want to do it kind of everywhere because I don't want people running around trying to break the game on purpose. But yeah, definitely in some places where you would think, oh, maybe I can, stick my head out this window and look around, stuff like that.
I was thinking of a game mechanic where you can put your head against the wall, and since now we have positional tracking, you can actually like hear the wall and then maybe the conversation on the other side as type of like a mystery type game mechanic. I don't know.
Yeah, that's very cool. I've actually, because I've had this Prio suit, or Prio, I don't know what you want to call it. I've had this for a while, so it's got positional tracking, right? Or it adds positional tracking rather, so giving me some time to kind of experiment with things. I know for the demo, Mike from Prio was saying, oh yeah, I had a great time, like stuck my head out the window of the apartment and was shooting rockets at the train below, because I had a bunch of like weapons in for the demo that were just from their soldier demo kind of thing. So there's lots of neat like new game mechanics you can add. I was thinking of doing like an area where you can break boards with your head or like smash through panes of glass, that kind of thing. Some martial arts training kind of stuff. I hope I don't get sued when somebody breaks the Rift off their desk.
That's what everyone's hoping, I think, in the VR space, especially motion controller people.
Yeah, the motion controller thing is weird. Like I think I've probably made it pretty obvious everywhere that I'm not a big fan of any of the motion control solutions that are out there currently.
No, really?
Yeah.
You haven't made that obvious at all.
Not even the like I like the Prio suit, but like I don't think I would buy one for gaming. Like I like it because it's cool as an experience. It's cool for motion capture, but I was talking to somebody from a motion control company, and they were talking about how they want to make the interaction of like reaching out and we're at a bar, and he's like reaching out and grabbing something like a beer and making that feel natural, like you reach out and the IK is all perfect and it simulates your movement and whatever, and I explained to him that, you know, in virtual reality, I would prefer to not have the same problems I have in real life. Like, I don't want to have to reach out to grab something. If in real life I could just look at the beer and hit a button and it magically appeared in my hand, I would much prefer that. like, why wouldn't you? Why wouldn't you like, we do these things in games for a reason, right? It's because it's better, and like during the mundane things of real life aren't fun in reality or otherwise.
No, I'd argue different. It's kind of natural. All these things are kind of patterns built up over time, and having those things kind of sync up in the environment, I think, adds a lot to the immersion and presence, and adds a lot of value, especially I think of just social experiences. That having a beer sounds, awesome. I think I would totally
Only if
get
it
something out of
doesn't
that.
take you 5 minutes to pick the beer up.
Well, maybe the
Yeah,
beer has
or
something tracking on it, so I can actually really grab it. Have a beer in real life, obviously.
yeah, for social stuff it's different, but and I agree with you. Like things like Rift Max, when you've got the hydras going, you're just the expressiveness that it adds for like the gesticulation and stuff. It really adds a lot. And you can see that in the Control VRs, like Glove. Like the whole second half of their Kickstarter video is just those guys like screwing around, throwing gang signs and giving each other the finger and stuff. And it really does add a lot to social experiences. But for games, it's I would much rather just have kind of pseudo superpowers. Like motion control, it's so awkward. Like it just doesn't. People say it adds to immersiveness. I think it instantly takes away. Like when like I have really good body awareness. Like when my eyes are closed, I know exactly where all of my joints are in space. So even just having my wrist a little off or my fingers not bent in the right position inside the game instantly bothers me. It takes me like away from the experience rather than like if I have no body, I don't even think about that. It's just like, I don't know, because most of the time in real life you don't see your body. Like you're pretty much invisible. There's a joke about it in Mystery Men, right? The kid who thought he was invisible. You just like if you look up in the air without anything on your face, you and ignore your nose. I guess I could see your nose, but whatever.
Have you seen any of Piece of Fruit's Hydra Unity stuff? He hasn't really been pushing it too much, but it's very much so those kinds of superpowers and like mass selection of stuff with a minimum of effort.
Yeah, I actually subscribe to his YouTube channel just to see all those neat little APIs he's making. It's really interesting. I think VR is like interesting. Like I don't think people are kind of thinking about the truth of things and like where things should be as opposed to they instantly get an idea in their head. They're like, oh, VR, I want to play Call of Duty in VR, or like like people don't kind of put thought into these things. Like, would it be better to not do this, or would it be better to do that? And that's why like what a Piece of Fruit's doing is kind of experimenting and putting it all out there for people to play with. Really cool. That's like Team Metatron, right? Like he's part of Team Metatron. Yeah.
Yeah. Someday we hope to have all of that stuff out there, open source and available for everybody to use. Because while there might be some cool stuff about having one-to-one motion and you have to go and actually physically pick up a virtual object and whatnot, I think there are certain kinds of pseudo superpowers that are just going to work better in a lot of contexts. And we'd like to get some kind of standard together.
Yeah. Like that's something even so like I was saying with Technolust, clipping your head through things isn't as big a problem as people would think, but clipping your hands through things definitely is. It's funny when we're doing the pre-OVR demo at AMD, we had hundreds and hundreds of people try it out, And it's funny to watch how many people just were kind of stuck in that kind of robotic hands forward position, even though they have full hand and arm tracking. They're all they're thinking about is like, I'm playing a video game, I'm holding a controller, so you're still stuck in like that awkward position. It doesn't feel right anyway, and like sticking your hands through walls and tables, and you're hitting your hand off the desk. It's just not. I don't know. I think like I would rather do without. I'm happy with some of the control schemes that we have for games already. We've been working on them for a long time.
Oh, cool.
Like getting preachy.
So, well, AntiCleric, thanks very much for coming out, and I really appreciate you making time to talk to us today and answer our questions. And does anybody, before we go, does anybody else have any questions they'd like to ask before we resolve?
Are you going to PAX?
When is PAX?
End of August.
End of August. Yeah.
I don't know.
That's a long pause.
I don't know. Is it
Gamescom, maybe?
It's hard for me to travel, especially because I'm trying to develop stuff. Don't want to and I don't have any money. If it's somewhere close, like New York or something, then sure I'll go to something there. But I'll probably be back out to the West Coast anytime soon, unless someone's paying for my flight for me. Okay. Well,
Thank you for your time.
yeah, thanks.
Yeah, thank you very much.
Thanks, AntiCleric.
What's that, Nate?
Thank you.
I had one more. You may have talked a bit about this, but what are some of your cyberpunk influences that went into the kind of backstory of Technolust? And if you had to choose between, say, Neuromancer and Snow Crash, which one would you choose?
Oof, Neuromancer or Snow Crash, I think I would choose Neuromancer. But Neuromancer or Ready Player One, I think I would choose Ready Player One. But pretty much everything influenced me. I've always been like a huge cyberpunk fan. Like the original RoboCop movie is probably my favorite movie of all time.
Go Robo.
Yeah, followed close. No, Go Robo. That was from RoboCop 2, wasn't it?
One.
Was it?
Yeah.
I don't remember that. And now I'm ashamed that I don't even know a quote from my favorite movie. I'm not wearing it right now. I have a shirt that's just Clarence Boddigar, and it says "Bitches Leave." Love that shirt.
Sweet.
Yeah, pretty much everything. Everything, I love Blade Runner. I love everything. Yeah, I like the list is so huge. I can't even even all of the games. Like the last game I bought on Steam was Shadowrun. I think there's a new expansion out for that. I might actually grab that if I can find time to play. But yeah, just everything cyberpunk. I love it. The story for Technolust is more kind of influenced by all of this stuff, but in the end, the kind of base story is more just a general sci-fi, like near future thing that I hopefully came up with on my own.
I have to know, do you believe that Deckard is a replicant?
Yes.
Awesome. I just came to that conclusion myself, so I'm glad to hear you agree.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Well, in the original ending, he had there was the guy put the unicorn right, or was that the original ending?
I think it was in both endings.
Okay. Yeah. So I don't know. Pretty obvious. There's no twist otherwise.
Absolutely right.
It's not a cool ending unless he is.
Have you read any of the Shadowrun novels?
No, I haven't actually. I've never played the pen and paper either. I think my first exposure to Shadowrun was the Super Nintendo version.
Yeah, you don't need to know how to play the game to read the novels. They're really good.
Are they good? Yeah. Maybe. Well, shit, man. Like I don't have time to ingest any media right now. I've been trying to watch her for how long has it been, Jacqueline? 2 weeks. We're trying. Oh, she's got her headphones on, watching something that I can't watch. Yeah, I've been trying to watch her for about 2 weeks. We get about 20 minutes in a day while we eat. It's really frustrating because I'd love to
You're
catch
not
up on
missing
some
much.
books. No, I don't know. It's alright so far.
Yeah, just anticlimactic.
Right.
Yeah, again, he's really bad.
Yeah.
It was just okay.
There's so many movies that I want to see though. Like I want to see Godzilla. I want to see what was the other one? I don't know. Like I'm forgetting about these movies that I need to catch up on.
Have you seen The Signal?
No, what's that?
With Lawrence Fishburne. It's pretty trippy. I recommend it. Good sci-fi flick for sure.
Oh, one day when Technolust ships, I'll be able to watch something again. Oh, I've watched Game of Thrones. I'm all caught up on that, so that's the important
Well, that's
thing.
good anyway. Yeah.
Game of Thrones. What's that?
What's Game of Thrones?
Oh, Game of Thrones. I thought you said Game of Tron or something like that.
Oh, no.
Okay, gotcha.
Cool. Well, thank you very much, Blair, AntiCleric, for coming out and answering our questions today. I wish there was a way we could all give him a round of applause.
We can. Woo! Let's see if we can crash the server. Woo-hoo-hoo!
Thank you. Can I do the spin out like Palmer did?
You bet.
Please do the Alt F4.
That works.
All right, I'm gonna do it. Thanks, guys.
Thank you.
Thank you.